Hey friends, and welcome to another video. As you can see, I'm in my kitchen and I'm about to make dinner. And for dinner today, we're having lentil soup. So, as you can see, I just also will be adding some pumpkins in my soup. It's just a vegetable soup with potatoes and lettuce. What am I saying? Not lettuce. Tomatoes and carrots and some greens from the garden all cut up in it. But as you can see here, I am saving my pumpkin seeds. Now, in this video, we will be talking about seed saving and self-sufficiency. Now, I live out here in the countryside on this little farm, which is 132 years old. The house is 132 years old. And we moved out here because we want to be self-sufficient. Now, nobody can be 100% self-sufficient because obviously you have to buy flour and, sugar and, all those kind of stuff. You're not making your own, stuff, right? And guys, it's cold. Today it's just cold. So you're not making your own everything that you use in your home. So you're not completely 100 self-sufficient. But even if you're 1% self-sufficient, you're still making a little mark. Now, I can say that we are about 70% self-sufficient out here because we grow like so much of our own food. We can a lot of our own food. We don't eat a lot of meat. So when it comes to meat, we have chickens, and so in the next couple of years we'll be not buying chicken anymore. We will be butchering our own chickens, and also we'll be getting some goats and a couple of sheep. So when it comes to meat, we will be self-sufficient in a way. We will still be buying beef because we don't have a cow. But like things like that. So any small way that you can like produce something for yourself is drawing you closer to a certain percentage of self-sufficiency. And I think that's what all of us should strive for. You know what I mean? Because when you produce your own stuff, you don't have to depend on somebody else to grow it for you. And you know exactly what goes into your own fertilizers, what goes in your own soil, and you know exactly what you're eating. It's like we have chickens, and when we get the yolks are so yellow and so beautiful, and the egg tastes really, really good because we feed our chickens real whole grains, and our chickens are grass fed, and we are very careful even with the feed that we buy for our chickens. But our chickens eat a small amount of feed grown organically from other people because we can't grow all our feed. And the majority of the other things that the chickens eat is from the things that we eat, like the scraps from the food, and even things that we buy, like peas and beans and all this kind of stuff. We also give that to our chickens. Oats, we give that to our chickens too. So we know that when we slaughter a chicken, it's good quality meat. We make cheese, we give the chickens our whey. When we make kefir, we give the chickens the leftover cheese or whey, whatever we give the chickens. So our chickens are really healthy. So this is pushing you, closer and closer to self-sufficiency. It's closer and closer to 100%. And maybe eventually you'll stop eating flour. You stop drinking. You start growing your own stevia. Like this summer, I grow lots of stevia, and I've been cutting back on sugar. I've been using something called jaggery. It's made from sugarcane. But I've been using that instead of store-bought sugar, and I hopefully that I can just cut out sugar completely. That's pushing me closer to self-sufficiency. So these are the things that I am talking about when I'm talking about self-sufficiency. So that is why I'm talking about saving your seeds. So if you're a person and you want to be self-sufficient, seed saving is your number one goal. This should be on your bucket list. It should be in the front of your frontal lobe. And you should be thinking about it all the time about how you can save your seeds. And I will tell you the importance of saving seeds. Now, I've been saving seeds for many, many years. Before I moved on this farm and I had this huge property, I lived in the suburban and I was saving my seeds every single year. Every single year, I was going out there in my front yard, in my backyard, picking all the little seeds of my flowers. Yeah, that's what I did. So every year I had so much seeds and I didn't need to buy much seeds at all in the store, except if I wanted a variety, a specific variety, or I just wanted to grow that variety of thing. You know what I mean? So that saved me a lot of money. And not only money, but the quality of plants that I had the next year was so much better. There was more resistant to diseases and pests, and the quantity of fruit that they bear or the flowers was so much more than the year before. And every year I saved seed, the genetic structure of the plant just got better and better, and I just had really nice plants, and my garden did so well, and I didn't have much problem at all with pests and diseases, and my plants were able to sustain themselves and to resist pests and diseases. So that is one of the reasons why I love to save. So I'm gonna take my bowl of seeds with me, and I'm just gonna put it here on this table because it's a little bit cooler out here, and I like to leave my seeds out here. So I will leave it out here for a day or two, and then it's gonna dry a bit and it's gonna kind of stick onto the paper towel, and then I'll bring it back inside and put it closer to the wood stove there where it's kind of warm for a day or two, and then it's going to be completely dry. Then I'm going to store it away in my big container where I store all my seeds. Now, let me show you guys some of the seeds that I have been saving over the summer. So if you look here, you can see my onions. So I have all these onions that I pulled up from the garden, and they are growing really, really well inside this box there, and I'll have to transplant them in the greenhouse. And this are onions that's going to be there in the greenhouse, and then in the spring I'll transplant them back into the garden, and they'll flowers, and then I'll take seed from them, and the process is going to continue like that every year. So every year I just dig up some, and then they flower early in the spring, and then you save the seeds. And then here I have all my calendula. Now this is just a little bit I just picked a couple of weeks ago, but I have a whole ton more of this calendula seeds that I saved, and this is like a lot. And here I have some sunflower seeds that I saved, and then I have some other flowers mixed up here, like a flower mix of all the different seeds, the daisies and all kind of different seeds I have saved in here. And I just have 3 different varieties of that sunflower seeds, and I have some more, but I save these seeds, and next year I don't have to buy any of that. I just get tons and tons and tons of plants. Okay guys, so I want to show you all how I save some of my seeds. So let's start with my tomatoes, and this is how I store my tomatoes. So I just stack them one on top of the other. As you can see, I just put the tomatoes on the paper towel, and then I just leave it to dry, and then I even label it. As you can see here, this one is Italian, small and big Italian, and these ones I just leave it on the paper. And this is the way I stack them. I just stack them one on top of the other, so they're all different varieties of tomatoes stacked one on top of the other here. And in the spring, I just damp the paper. I just cut a piece off what I want. It depends on how much tomato of that variety I want to plant that year. I just cut a piece of the paper and then I wet it and then I just put soil over it and I plant it and good to go. That's how I plant my tomatoes every year. And then this tomatoes I have here is a dark red tomato and this one is a yellow tomato. Now the yellow tomato, I did not plant that. That just came up in my garden. And this year I had 3 different variety of this yellow tomato. So the tomato cross-pollinated and it created 3 different variety of tomato all by itself. So I'm really happy about that. So I saved these seeds and hopefully next year I will separate them by the different variety and then I'll be able to sell some of that because I haven't seen anybody have these yellow tomatoes. And this one is a dark red tomato, which I haven't seen before. It's like a blood red tomatoes. There's 2 different varieties that I have. And I only planted 1. And now I have 2. So you see, this is the beauty of saving seeds because then you end up having different varieties of plants because they cross-pollinate against each other. So yeah, these are my tomatoes and I just stack them like this. And when I'm finished, I just put them in a big sandwich bag and I store them like that inside my big seed saving bin. Look at this. These are cucumbers and look at the amount I have. Loads of cucumbers. The same thing I did. I just put them on a plate and I just turn a paper towel over it. And then once it dry, it sticks onto the paper towel. Next season, I just cut a piece off, how much I want. And the same thing, put salt over it and that's that. The next seed that I save is my pepper and I do the same thing. I just carefully remove the seeds in the middle and then I dry it like that. And then after I just take the seed off from the kind of stem in the middle. But these I will store them inside a bottle because I like to store my peppers in a bottle. Then these ones are pumpkins and pumpkins I learned the hard way. You have to be careful because the pumpkins seeds, they tend to have this kind of, I don't know if it's a mold or a fungus or whatever, and it just looks very harmless. But if you leave this seed that have the dot in it, it takes over all the other seeds in there and it spoils the entire thing. Last year that happened to me. The seeds were fine. There was just a few of them have some dots on it. And then I left it and it didn't ruin all the seeds. They didn't germinate. So this year I went and I picked out any one I see have a dot. I just picked it out. And then I left the rest that doesn't have a dot. So that's what I'm going to do. So you have to be careful with the pumpkin seeds. And then this one here is some squash I have. And I have a lot of them. A lot of squash. And this is 2 different varieties of squash. They look like courgettes, but they're massive. So I think, yeah, there's 2 varieties in here. They all mix up together. It doesn't matter to me. And I will store these. The next one, these are courgettes. These are striped courgettes and big ones. So I just save a few because nobody likes courgettes in my house, just me. So I just save a couple. And this year my courgettes were like so much. I planted 6 trees. And listen, I pulled off over 150 courgettes, okay, out of my garden. It was just incredible. I keep giving away courgettes, giving away. I gave my mother 15 at one time. It's just incredible. So I'm just gonna be careful with the courgettes because last year they did the same thing. They just was so much courgettes I didn't know what to do. And then I have some other pumpkin seeds here. And then I have these bean seeds, which I didn't plant. They cross-pollinated with some other beans and they produce these beans. I don't even know what they're called. But so I'm gonna be planting these ones separately next year. We actually cooked some of these beans. We shelled them and cooked them and they're so tasty. And when you put it with rice, it changes the color of the rice. It gives this color kind of darkish, the rice a kind of darkish color. It's very, very yummy. So these are my seeds for next year or whatever the name of that beans. I don't know, cross-pollinated beans. And then in this box, I have about 5 or 6 different varieties of beans all in here, which we need to shell. So we're going to have a shelling party, me and my husband and the kids, to shell all these beans. And we just dump all different beans in there because we just didn't have no time to separate them when it's getting cold outside. And we needed to bring them in so they can dry. So they're all completely dry and crisp, and they're ready to be shelled. Um, it's a lot of beans that's in here. I may not store all of them. I don't know. If it's too much, we'll just stew some because we love stew dry beans, and we'll just save the rest because every year we like to replenish our supply. We like to have a little bit extra in case something happen or in case they don't produce as much as the year before. But yeah, so we're gonna shell all these and separate them by kind. And now let me show you guys what I like to store my seeds in. So I have these little containers, and they are, I think they're for spices. Yeah, I think they're for spices, but they're kind of heavy jars. I got them in a garage sale years ago. I don't know if you can find it, but they have this little caddy which is so cute. Two, four, and they hold eight. So I have two sets of these, and I have some others, but they're not in a caddy. But the bottles are really nice because you can see the seeds that are in there. They're actually in a caddy. You can even take the caddy out in the garden with you, and I do that. And you put your seed in there, and then the cover, it closes really tight so it doesn't come off. And I like to fill that up a seed. That's a lot of seed to put in there, but this is a good way of storing like your seed. So you can also buy these, not the same thing, but I seen similar ones on Amazon. The quality of the bottle is not the same, but you can buy bottles like that if you want and sow your seeds in that. And these are some of the seeds that I stored. I have lots of other seeds and flowers and brassicas and other things that I store, seeds that I save. And I also have basil seeds that I save. I have tons and tons of basil seeds that I save. I have like 3 or 4 different variety of basil seeds that I save. And every year I keep saving seeds, and I keep replenishing my stock of seeds. So if you want to be self-sufficient, you want to make your own seed library for you and your friends. And this is something that you want to do. This is something that's very doable because I'm telling you, saving my seeds really save me money every year and give me a better quality of plants, and I get more flowers, I get more fruit, my plants are more susceptible, they're less susceptible to diseases, and they do so much better. I Before, when I bought when I used to buy like seeds from the garden center, certain seeds, especially I had like some squash and some pumpkins, there is this beetle that used to like go into the stalks and destroy it. But now that I've been doing saving my own seeds, I don't have any problem with these beetles going in and eating these stalks and killing my plant. I don't have a problem with that at all because these plants that I have, they've been from generation, they have developed this tenacity, and maybe they just repel the beetle now, so beetles doesn't bother them anymore. But anyways, guys, this I just wanted to just show you guys how you can just save seeds. Very, very simple, very, very easy, and you can save lots of seeds. I mean, I can show you guys my seed stock, but it's gonna be like a next day because I have so many seeds. Like this is just like a pinch of the seeds that I have that I saved. These seeds, they need to be packed away. I just don't get the opportunity as yet. Maybe later on tonight I'll put them away. But I have cats, so I have to put them all the way up because this cat will love to go and make a mess of my seeds. But this is what it is, how you can save your seeds, and this is how you can really um become in tune with nature, become one with your environment, become one with your, with the soil, with the plant. Make that connection with your plants and your environment around you by saving seeds, by watching a species evolve and grow into something new, watching a new variety of plant just come about. It's just so amazing. Like it's just fascinating. Every year I'm so fascinated. This year, I grew up tomatoes that had this he has like a little, I don't know, little extension, like some, I don't know, I call it the tail. But I have a lot of tomatoes that look like that, so it must have been a cross breed of tomatoes. And I saved some seeds this year, so let me see if I'm gonna have the same looking tomato. It looked like, like when a little tail at the end. It's such a funny tomato. I should take a picture, but anyways, I have a lot of them. So it's so amazing to see nature in all its beauty when you just give her a chance to just do her thing. And in the process, you as the individual also get to enjoy nutritious, dense, packed food that is awesome for the body. And the body loves that. You know what I mean? And these foods, this is better for the body and is better for the digestion also. So seed saving is the way to go. If you have not started to save your seeds, guys, what are you waiting for? Start saving your seed. You could even start just by saving organic seeds, the things that you buy organic in the store. Start saving a couple of seeds. Start saving peppers, pumpkins, squash, just very simple things. And then you move from there. It's not very hard. You have to start small and then you really evolve into something bigger. And as you do things, you learn, you gain experience, you gain knowledge and know-how. And then that's what makes things better. So guys, I love making videos. I really enjoy making videos. So thanks for watching. Thanks for always coming back and subscribing to my channel. Hello to all my newbies. Welcome to the community. And remember, you're beautiful. Think positive thoughts in your mind. And you are much more powerful than you think you are. Ciao, ciao. I will see you in the next video.